Potter's Journal, Learn with the Apprentice. Here's some of her work. How do you get to be Pottery Apprentice at 15 years old? Well, I guess it helps if your grandmother's a weaver, if your great-grandmother is a painter and seamstress. Here's some of the stuff she did at Quigley High School, and it looks like she glazed it and then dotted some things on there. She does that wavy lip thing too, like I do. We didn't know she was doing this, thought that, look at the texture in there. I believe that's a glaze on glaze and variation on the wavy edge. But I guess there's only so much time in school. She bottom's a little bit rough there. But yeah, I was quite impressed with Quigley and her teacher, Miss Harrington. And yeah, they're doing stoneware. She tells me that this stuff was both dipped in buckets and glazes from jars. She did some clay stains here. From what I'm told, the lid did stick, but her sister knew how to get it off and banged it with a stick. Okay. And I guess Pottery Apprentice, it also helps if your uncle has the pottery. So she gets here about once, or about maybe 5 or 6 times a year. She did showed me her henna pattern brushwork in her first video, and here she did it as a sgraffito through a slip. So yeah, a lot of work in there. But in my studio, I said, well, that's very nice if you want something to show, if you want to make a special gift. But here, we're going to fill a wearboard and sell some stuff. So we pushed the, what do you call it, doily stuff in here. Something I saw Janice the Potter do. And she's doing videos again. I was so happy to get a note on my channel about that. Also, this is one of, this is Sea Mist. When I was newly back to this, I discovered Janice the Potter at the same time I was dipping my glaze for the first time in Sea Mist, and ran across her video doing the same thing. So it reminded me of being in school back at university and having other people making the same discoveries in the next studio. But I will say, Janice the Potter has an obsession with glazes and has taken it way further than I probably ever will. Okay, well, this is a pre-postscript after the fact. Today's clip is a little choppy because of batteries, and I actually clipped in 2 days of it, so let's see what happened in the studio. Do you know what this is?
A sketchbook?
It's a Potter's Journal. You have sketchbooks. This is...
I already have like 3 of them.
Yeah, but this one's a Potter's Journal. This is for you to put all your clay stuff in. All your clay stuff in. Take it to school.
I don't have that class anymore.
Oh, okay, but you need to find out what clay you used and what glazes you used, and take notes so that if you ever want to repeat stuff, you know exactly what it was. That if you make a jar and the lid breaks, and then if you sketch the things out and you find out you sold them, you still have a memory of them. So this is the first time you've used a drill?
Sure.
Yeah, okay. So between each color, make sure you might as well clean it off in the water, and mix up the Albany slip glaze too. And you do know what happens if you drop the drill in the water, don't you? We don't want to get electrocuted, so don't drop the drill in the water.
I'm going to.
Okay. Okay, so you can rinse it off in the water, and that's all the glazes mixed up. Okay, so it's Potter's Journal. Learn with the Apprentice. Today we're moving on to glazes. So how do you do it in school?
With a wooden stick.
Okay, do you have glazes there that you mix in buckets? Okay, but you also use in the jars too that you brush on. I saw really interesting a lady that here, let me find a banding wheel. If your piece didn't fit in these buckets, she put it on the potter's wheel like this, and she put the glaze in a ketchup bottle and put the brush, and while it was spinning, she just went right down the side. It was, I think her YouTube site was Mary Potter. Okay, so it might be nice to try all three glazes and see what happens. There's a couple ways you can do it, but here's one way is to do the tongs. And it's really just a matter of, okay, grabbing them, putting it in, pulling them out and letting it drip. And then the big trick is when you set them down, not to scratch it with the tongs and to pull them out slowly. And the question is, we might want to try all the glazes, but a couple you might want to do two different glazes in. And I think these two that have a plain spot and a decorative spot might be nice to try a second glaze here. So I'd say on these three, you might want to try all three glazes. The Sea Mist, which is a commercial glaze, and then the Bluey I mixed up myself. The Albany Slip Glaze,
Is this that brown one?
yeah, is most of it is a type of clay that'll melt at a low temperature. And there's some other stuff in it too I don't like.
Do I have to pull one in that brown?
Let's see. I just go down the line. What was the question? Here's another trick. Because now since we didn't wax the bottom.
Yeah, why don't we put wax or something?
Well, sometimes if we put it on now, it's not going to have time to really dry right. But I do this. I dip it in water, and then it brushes off where the water was a little bit easier. And let's see. And let's see. Usually one person would do this, but we're doing this with two people today. So you've got to hold the clamps really tight, and then once the sponge gets dirty, the last wipe with a different part of the sponge where it's clean, and then here, wait at the edge of the table. Otherwise, you won't be able to remove the here, right there. Let's see. Well, okay, pretty good. If you do get a scratch, the glaze might smooth out. Some glazes don't. You can take a brush and clean it too. Okay, so if you want to try the Bluey glaze, and you let it drip a few times right there, and you have done this at school, haven't you? Okay, and here's what I think I was saying to let these go. If you put this right on the edge, okay, you put the legs right on the edge of the table, you can then lift this up like that. And that glaze is a little sloppy. Oh, I like the lead feet you put on these. Great big ones. Okay, and then we'll turn the sponge for the last wipe. Okay. And on the other two, you might want to try glaze layering, where you put one glaze under and another glaze over top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out that the bluey is a good underglaze, and this one looks good over it. And okay, these two are good underglazes with the sea mist over top. So I do one and one in each of those, and then we'll put the sea mist over top.
We don't do quite yet.
Okay, let me see that. This one's going to be hard because they're far apart. So should we show your dad is possible today or wait till Easter?
Sure.
I don't know what to do. I mean, since
I would
he's here,
show him, yeah.
since he's here, and I don't really have anything to say to him, that would be something.
Okay, Jeff. Whoops. I put that extra slice of prime rib.
Oh, well, we're just talking about pottery right now.
Well, I'm taking the pan with the bone. I'm going down the hub. Yeah. I don't want it. I guess I can have a potato here.
Yeah. Oh, you did that faster than I expected. I'd say let it dry a little bit before you do the second dip. Here.
Do we have something to drip with? Because I don't like the solid line.
Oh, Oh, so has your dad ever seen you work? He hasn't. Has he even come to school to see your stuff?
Can't really come to school to see your stuff.
Oh, okay. Do you have an open house at school?
Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay. Do you go to the art class and talk to the art teacher?
Yeah.
Or which teachers do you talk to?
It's like a cookie.
Okay, so okay, you did that one in which two glazes? Okay, so this one, yeah, this one I'd try in the bluey and then with the sea mist over top. But I'd let it dry out a little bit in between before you do the second mix. And here, let's do this water trick where it's easier to clean off the bottom if we dip it in the water first. Okay. Okay, here.
Oh, there's a ladybug.
Yeah. And then if you want to do any of the things that you put, did you finish any of the pieces that you put your henna patterns on? Because they show best through a white glaze. We could mix that one, get that one. Okay. Yeah. So I'd say just set that down and let it dry. And we will get out the white.
Where's the white?
I think we're okay. We're done with the bluey. So we will put it on the bottom. And that's not it. Where'd it go? You tried all the different colors. You tried some. Oh, here, do this one that you're going to do an over and under. This one. Oh, you dipped this one in both the sea mist and the bluey?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So one more to do there, and you'll be finished. And these did get noticed at the farmer's market. And this is a lot easier and quicker than all that handwork you did. Okay, so I'd get that one more dipped and we can wrap this up and get on to whatever's next. And if you do get a little scratch with a tong, you can always come back with a brush and dot it on there. Well, you could use the next table. Okay, well that's it. Learn with the apprentice. Stop back and see if we get back in the studio again. And look at that, her grandma's in the background waiting to see what happened.